Good evening, and welcome to this week's London by Gaslight. Before we start, as being beautifully modelled by Ms. Hartz, you can see a lovely Table of Horrors mug. As being...
You want one now, don't you?
Not the mug. As being modelled by the beautiful Noscavian, you can see another Table of Horrors mug. In case you didn't know, because it has come to my attention, we do have a merch store. You can check out the link down below, where it says merch. Just in case you didn't know. And I believe the William logo and the Table of Horrors logo was a collective effort between Ms. Hartz and Nitro to design and get out there. And I love it.
Her did most of this logo.
Yeah, she did the William one.
And I did most of the hedgehog.
I'm
Not
just
that.
sad because Shiver didn't say anything about my beautiful mug.
I'm going to leave that for RJ to say in chat.
That's true.
A late Victorian age vampire the Masquerade Chronicle set in 1892. Awakening for the night in the city of London this week is Inspector Grey from the Clan of the Hunt, portrayed by Noscavian. Please do a rouse check to waken from your torpor slumber. Gain another hunger.
I think something might be eating your head.
Thurston of the Nosferatu, played by Nitro Typat. Please do a rouse check to waken from your torpor slumber. Excellent. Last but never least, Eveline, the daughter of Cacophony, portrayed by Miss Hartz. Please do a rouse check to waken from your torpor state. Wonderful.
Hey.
There you go. RJ is now back so he can say things about your beautiful mug, Nitro. We begin this week in the Whitechapel house, within the cellar. Thurston has sought out the painting in the cellar of the Whitechapel house. Déjà vu. He has pleaded with Endymion to change his deal, as he hardly deals with mortals and will be unable to provide a worthy sacrifice. Thurston is enveloped in darkness, and as Endymion's voice booms through Thurston's skull, red flashing lights travel through him in sync with his voice.
I have a task for you. There is another. Asmodeus, navigator of the stars, former Archduke of the Silver Legion. He has set up his following in the name of Mithras. Find them, stalk them, tear them apart, and destroy his reliquary. Take the others with you, and you shall be rewarded.
Do you mean physically tear them apart or metaphorically? Because we all know that I've gotten in trouble for doing the former before. I'll take that as a yes. Alright, doesn't seem that difficult. Kirsten will reach over and knock on a wooden panel somewhere. It's not the first time we've dealt with a faux cult before, so...
Fixing to leave?
Yes.
Go upstairs. Thurston, no longer surrounded by unending blackness, walks with a heavy heart out of the cellar and up the stone stairs, making his way into the meeting room, and awaits the rest of the coterie, who slowly enter, one by one, with Eveline as usual making sure she is the last to enter. As Thurston leans forward and brings his task to the coterie. Thanks to his knowledge of the city, he already knows they should start by going to the Taurus Club and making subtle inquiries there. Thurston, with this change of the deal, what's Thurston thinking and feeling right now?
I hate you. Relief, knowing that he's not going to have to either make a deal with somebody that he has to break, or find a mortal that is to make a deal with to break it. And while dealing with another demon does seem terrifying, it's something that we've kind of done before. So he's not too extraordinarily worried about it.
Inspector Gray, Eveline, Thurston, you are together in the meeting room. Thurston has to bring forward his task, but any other business, please bring it forward.
Yes, Thurston, that does seem like quite a positive change for your task. Something else I would like to bring up. What are our plans regarding the Lady Anne Bosley?
Weren't we supposed to get into a party or something of hers?
Well, I recall we found that strange room where Aldrich wisely sacrificed the soul to our Grey Lord Endymion. Now, regarding that strange room and hers working with Valerius, should we confront Lady Anne regarding this? Go to Mithras? Perhaps go to Valerius? What's our plan? We have many options here. I just want to make sure we're all on the same page.
Are we strong enough to confront her?
That I do not know. But we are many. Perhaps with numbers we can stand a chance.
True.
Assuming she doesn't have a coterie of her own.
What would we tell Valerius?
Yes, indeed.
Well, I suppose if we told Valerius, we would be informing him that we've discovered his connection with the Lady Anne, and we would offer to how we can assist him and aid him better, I suppose.
Well, do we still want to be indebted to Valerius? I thought that we were trying to separate ourselves from him as much as possible.
Then, if that's the case, then we certainly shouldn't proceed that course of action. Or take that course of action, I should say.
I don't feel comfortable going to Mithras. I still don't have this hand back.
He might grant it to you if you abide him with the right information.
We didn't do anything wrong last time to lose the hand.
I don't know. From what I remember Aldrich saying, you gave the soul of the city to a demon.
Brick gave the soul of the city to a demon, and he still has his hand.
Oh, guilty by association.
And it was a trap.
Well, so if this is one of those situations, if we don't go to Mythos with this information, would the punishment be worse? Would he take the other arm away from us? If we confront Lady Anne, how could that benefit us, if at all? If we confront her with this information, perhaps it'll just spook her.
True.
We have another option, although I can't say I like it any better than the others. It seems quite obvious that she's the culprit of... Drawing blank.
Amaranth.
The thing, yes, Amaranth. So we're supposed to be finding the person who's committing Amaranth. Maybe we turn her into the Camarilla.
Turn her into Dirk? I suppose we could do that as well.
They could provide us with backup if we had to go confront her after
Or
letting
they...
him know.
True, they could. Or they could just as likely tell us that it's our responsibility, we should handle it.
Well, I feel like it was our responsibility to find out too. If we are certain that it is her, I feel like they might understand our lack of ability to confront somebody so powerful.
But where does that put us at in a political perspective? I'm not good at these things. I just want to sing.
Normally, I
Right.
leave these. Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, you're good.
That is the crux of the issue. What move can we make that won't leave us to be, that will be advantageous to us politically, while minimizing the damage to ourselves?
Well, we always have that sarcophagus that we discovered as backup. That was designed for, if I'm remembering correctly, that was both designed for Lady Anne and Mithras. I remember it being for Mithras, or was it designed by Lady Anne?
Designed by Lady Anne. Probably.
Gotcha.
Oh, by Lady Anne for Myth.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I mean, we could always, once she's out of the picture, we could maybe keep her plans in motion. I, too, am not a fan of politics, Evelyn. This is why I tend to leave it to Aldrich, but unfortunately, he's not around.
Very well. So we absolutely do not want to turn this over to Mithras.
Maybe not him directly.
I'm scared of Mithras.
Then, do you believe confronting the Lady Anne is our best course of action?
Well, we don't have to go directly to Mithras with the information in order to confront her. Like, one of you said, I honestly don't remember. Someone mentioned going to Dirk.
Yes, going to Dirk if we turn her over to the Camarilla. My concern is, given we've already been chastised by Mithras, anything of this significance dealing directly with Mithras, we either have to ally ourselves with the people going directly against Mithras, or we should turn this information over to him directly. Anyone else would be disadvantaged to us. If we turn it over to Dirk and the Camarilla, I'm sure Mithras would be angered why we didn't bring the information to him and punish.
Well, Dirk is our handler, is he not? I agree that this information is of a high level of importance, but there is still a probably not completely solid, but still a chain of commands that we should go through.
Keep in mind, Thurston, Mithras is not part of the Camarilla. Mithras claims this territory and allows the Camarilla to operate within it, but he is not part of the Ivory Tower.
Was it Mithras that gave us this mission directive to begin with?
No, it was not Mithras. However, it pertains to him directly.
I'm probably blanking really bad as a player right now. I know I've heard her name a lot, but what
Lady Anne
connection
Mosley?
is... Yeah, Lady Anne Mosley again.
He's Seneschal.
Gotcha. True. But isn't that connection merely a political facade for Mithras if he only allows its operation here, while, with lack of a better term, masquerading as prince?
Hold on.
Inspector's deep in thought.
He's inspected.
Thurston! Actually,
Yes.
I picked on you last time. Eveline, with the current discussion, does Eveline have any thoughts and feelings right now?
Elaine's mostly bored.
Why?
She doesn't necessarily care about the political stuff. And it's not the type of decision that she's comfortable making. She is used to other people making her decisions for her.
That's fair. Inspector Gray,
Yes.
what are your thoughts and feelings right now? As an Assamite, you're not part of the Camarilla. You're not necessarily aligned with Mithras, but your clan does have friendlier terms with Mithras.
So, first and foremost, on Gray's mind is he's hungry. And he would like a decision to be made so that he can go eat. Secondly, yes, Gray doesn't care that much for Camarilla. He needs to figure out, are we going to ally ourselves with Mithras? If so, we need to get this information to him ASAP. If we're planning to do something else, we need to figure that out. Because if we wait on this information, it's going to be bad for everyone. But he doesn't care that much for the...
Is there anything more you'd like to discuss about possible moving forward with Anne Bosley's situation, or would you like to do something else?
Without Aldrich here, it does feel odd to make a big decision like that. So...
His kindred never do any kind of backstabbing.
Well, perhaps we can discuss this more over dinner.
It's lovely. Should we go to our usual place?
That sounds agreeable.
I have no objections.
Did Aldrich leave his carriage? We don't have to hire one, do we?
So
I
you're
look
heading
to the inspector when I say that.
I'm sure there's a carriage for us. If not, I can hire one for the evening.
Oh,
Perhaps we can ask one of Aldrich's men. They're always around.
I don't know how much I trust them.
I would go look for one of Aldrich's goons.
Yeah, and you'll find one heavy-handed, no problem. They're all milling around downstairs.
Is there a carriage we could use for the evening?
Probably.
Very well, great. Go ahead and pull it out front for us. We will be out shortly.
I mean, I'm strong, but I don't think I could pull a fucking carriage.
What I mean is, get the carriage and its coach and have them meet us out front. You don't actually need to pull anything. Just arrange it for.
Alright. If that's all you want, no problem.
Thank you. I will return back to the group. One of Aldrich's men is bringing a carriage around front.
All by himself? Wow, it doesn't even need a horse? That's impressive.
He gave direction to the coach to pilot the carriage around front door.
Ah, that makes much more sense.
Was the word
You're heading out to the front of the Whitechapel house then?
Sure.
Yes.
And the coterie collectively head out, where they see an awaiting carriage with no horses and no driver. And the heavy-handed standing in front of it very proudly. Just like you asked, Gov.
You may be strong, but you're not very smart, are you?
I'm not paid to think. I've seen what
Obvious.
happens if we use if we think for ourselves. So we just do exactly what we're told.
Right. And do you know where we would find ourselves a carriage driver and some horses?
Yeah.
Mind you, may you go and let them know we are waiting for them out front and we have a carriage ready for them?
No. Bring us a horse and a coach, please.
Oh, you want a taxi? Why didn't you just say you wanted a taxi? You lot are real stupid.
Yes, thank you. Make haste with it.
And the heavy-handed will walk to the side of the street. I got this. I see one. He'll start rubbing his thighs and then throw himself in front of the horse and carriage and is trodden to death as the horse driver stops.
What do you have in your head?
If anything, Aldrich will understand.
Well, this is very inconvenient. I just washed this horse yesterday. Now it's covered in blood. Do any of you three know what the hell that was about?
Apparently he just wanted to jump in front of you on his own initiative. I don't know why he chose to jump in front of you, but there's nothing you can do about that.
I mean,
But-
these are really hard times to get through at the moment, you know.
But since you're here, perhaps you can give us a ride.
Yeah. He's trying to look at the mangled mess. Yeah, hop in. Where are you off to?
Wherever you said that I knew and told them.
Oh, well, we're going to go get a snack first. So the place
Oh,
we
that's
usually
right.
go to is that steam room or the other room? I forget what it's called.
The other one. Aldrich's Opium Den.
Yeah, Aldrich's Opium. The medicine
Alright.
shop.
Is there anything you wish to discuss? As the carriage thunders through.
As I get in the carriage, I make sure to avoid stepping in any blood or getting my shoes dirty.
You know, I have to commend Aldrich for dealing with men of that stature on a daily basis. He must have a very specific way of speaking to them to make them understand what he means exactly.
I would shout inside for the men to clean up the mess out front before hopping in the carriage and joining the group.
No problem.
Yes, it's quite tiresome talking to such individuals in extreme verbosity.
I would have just killed them all out of impatience.
Oh, I think Aldrich has done that a few times. I
See?
heard a few of them complaining about, oh, you don't want to make Aldrich mad, or else he'll have you have a shaving accident again. I don't know what that meant, but it sounded very intimidating.
The carriage eventually pulls up outside Aldrich's Opium Den. Heading straight inside, or any instructions to taxi driver before you go?
Please wait for us for a few. We have some other places to go for the night.
Alright, but it's still on the clock.
That's quite alright.
See.
Very well. Mind how you go.
I would head in.
You head into Aldrich's Opium Den, finding it fairly busy. And a stunningly attractive, long, straight, black-haired woman with the skin-tight dress greets you. Ah! Oh, it's you.
Yes, we'd like the private room, please.
Master Aldrich's private room?
Yes.
I'm afraid I can't give you Master's private room.
It doesn't matter. Is there another private room available where we can get some of our usual fare?
Miss Eveline, what a lovely parlour you have these nights. You're looking more and more pale.
Why, thank you.
You should consider going hunting with me sometime. It might be fun.
I would be honored, I think.
Your little pet rat going with you too?
You mean tonight? For the room?
Yes. Is it the three
Yes,
of you?
for all three.
And is
I mean, I
Thurston
haven't
joining you
summoned
as
any
well?
rats. Oh, I see. I will be joining them, but I do not need any company. At
Very
least
well.
for this session.
Very well. Do you have preferences on your companionship?
I'd like someone with a bit of pep, please.
What fun.
Someone untainted is fine.
Boring.
As you wish. Please, go round the back. Take the second door, not the first. Is there anything you wish to discuss as you all settle in to the second nicest room in the establishment?
The first one is the usual private room, right?
Yeah.
I will, as we walk by, just open the door, peek in, close it, and keep going.
Fair. Anything you wish to discuss together, or would you just like your meals brought? Oh.
That new hire of Audrix is quite flippant and rude, isn't she?
Quite. I kind of like it.
Oh, she was quite nice to me just now. Should I be worried?
I don't know. We'll have to talk to Audrix about it. Seems like every time we show up, she has something rude to say.
I can't remember. Do we know who she is?
We
No.
do, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, we do.
everyone except Inspector Grey knows.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Oh, wow. Everyone knows? Wow, okay.
Yeah, that was a while ago. Aldrich gave us
I
the
couldn't remember for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she must have something in her past that makes her grumpy.
Clearly, I've never met someone so grumpy and disgruntled before. You'd think she would enjoy her new job or something of the sort.
Maybe she had someone in her life that just rubbed her the wrong way.
Or drank her the wrong way.
Either way, we don't have time for such things.
Door opens as Nezka escorts a man who's looking around very nervously, grinding his jaw, guides him to sit next to Eveline.
I slide over on the couch and pat the seat next to me.
She exits the room and brings in another man, holding him by the back of his collar, and throws him to the feet of Inspector Grey. I hope you enjoy your stay. And she glides out.
Thank you very much.
Closing the door behind her.
Thank you.
Who would like to feed first?
I will sit in my victim's lap and start singing very softly in his ear before I'll kiss his neck and then I'll bite it.
Do your feeding roll for me, please. The man closes his eyes, a look of pure ecstasy upon his face, as he feels Eveline's lips press against his skin, and finally her teeth biting into his jugular. He lets out a moan of pleasure. At first he thought he was already euphoric, and Eveline's kiss takes him further still, as she drinks deeply from the body. How much would you like to take? Well, you may slake to hunger, as the man gives you this very drowsy look, smiles, and is just lost in a dreamlike state. Inspector Grey.
I would I would set him up beside me so we're sitting there, and then while he's distracting watching Eveline sing, I will bite him and start feeding.
And Eveline, don't forget you may take the one bonus die and add it to a pool of your choosing.
Oh no.
And you can't
Hey,
get
I
rid of
got
it.
a crit!
You know what's coming, don't you, Inspector Grey?
I think I'm gonna crush this Capri Sun.
Inspector Grey
We're gonna get thrown out.
grabs his prey by the back of his hair, throws his head to the side, extends his 4 fangs, and sinks them deep into the mortal's skin and flesh. As he begins to drink, he thinks to himself, why bother sparing this pathetic creature's life? And drains every drop of vitae from his victim's body, discarding him and throwing him to the floor like garbage. You may slake 5 hunger, but you take 2 humanity stains.
Alrighty.
Oh,
That was quite the satisfying meal.
Because Ulrich's not around doesn't mean you can treat his meals that way.
You're right. Here, let's I'll pick the body up and I'll put it over by the sleeping person Evelyn was feeding one. And I'll just here, we'll just put them together and it'll look like this happened in its sleep.
Inspector Grey, given your
Yeah.
low humanity, but the fact that you have killed once more during feeding, what do you think Inspector Grey is feeling right now?
He's feeling good. He's completely sated. He's not hungry. Yeah. I mean, so what if he crushed the can?
Thurston, you have the highest humanity among the coterie remaining. Having witnessed Inspector Grey defiling, destroying, and then casually setting up the scene of his murdered victim, what do you think Thurston's thinking and feeling right now?
I mean, I may be the highest humanity, but that's still humanity 4. So not really anything.
Humanity 4.
Yeah, relief that Aldrich isn't here to give us a hard time. Not because he really cares about it happening or not, but just the fact that he's been heckled about it enough that he's just tired of hearing it from anybody.
Eveline, as you also have humanity 4, I'll come over to you next. What do you think Eveline's thinking and feeling right now, having witnessed this?
She is more appalled at Inspector Gray's lack of manners.
Why?
Because it's rude to kill someone in someone else's establishment without their permission.
How does that make Eveline feel?
Appalled?
Just appalled? No sign of disgust at this waste of a human?
I mean, maybe a little, but it's mostly frustration with Inspector Gray.
What would you all like to do next?
I'm just picturing Evelyn with the same face as that octopus now.
Well, now that we've had a satisfying meal, where was it you said we needed to go, Thurston? Right, we should go there post-haste.
There was a Thurston Answers in there.
Yes. Quote unquote. Parentheses.
Before I realized what he was asking of me, he answered it for himself. It was great.
The coterie head out and into the carriage, each taking a seat. The coterie make use... Oh no, I've said that. Bollocks. As they journey through the city, the car is nowhere near as spacious or as comfortable as Aldrich's, and the thundering hooves of the horses and wooden wheels on the cobbled stone road rampages through the carriage. Despite the obstacles, the coterie are just about able to talk amongst themselves. Is there anything you would like to talk to about?
This carriage just is not up to my standards.
Right?
This carriage carriage isn't up to my standards!
Ah, yes, these cushions are quite uncomfortable.
Yes, it's quite a bumpy ride, and this
What?
carriage isn't nearly as... the carriage isn't soundproofed as well as Aldrich. You just hear all the clopping of the hooves.
Yeah, I imagine we wouldn't be able to hear Aldrich either.
Oh, I'm sure we'd hear Aldrich. He's loud.
He's allowed to do what?
I'm sure if Aldrich were here, we'd have a better carriage to ride in. One that wasn't so poorly insulated against sound.
Yes, we can get you a balloon.
I did think of some clever way to... Yeah.
Hmm.
Balloon?
Carriage comes to a thunderous stop outside the Tourist Club, allowing the coterie to leave the carriage and confidently step into the entrance area of the Tourist Club. Resplendent red carpet softly sinks under their feet as they step towards the rosewood reception desk, where a handsome older woman greets the approaching coterie with a polite smile.
Real quick, Shiv, before I enter the Tourist Club, may I cast Mask of 1,000 Faces?
Show me Mask of 1,000 Faces, please.
Because I just remembered that I have that.
Does it make you nondescript?
Yeah, I'm doing it so that way I'm not walking in there as obviously either a diseased human or a Nosferatu.
Do a rouse check for me, please.
Choop.
Gain a hunger. The woman smiles at you politely as you all enter. Good evening, gentlemen. And lady.
Oh, now this place is more appropriate.
Indeed.
Good evening.
Yes.
Yes. Why are we here again?
This was the place with the cult, I believe.
This is the place you're going to get leads for the cult.
Leads
Because as your characters definitely know, as you've been here before, but you're not members, the Tourist Club is frequented by members who claim to be followers of Mithras.
That's right. This is the place with the bull skulls and everything all around. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, go ahead, Thos.
Nope, you're better at this. Go for it.
Yes, my group and I, we are here for a nice evening at the club. And of course, there's no better club in London than this.
Indeed. Are you members?
No.
No,
Not-
but we were invited.
Ah.
Who invited us last time? I can't remember.
It's another one of those ones where I can name them. Cyril Masters.
Ah, yes.
Very good. Do you have your invitations on you?
I'll make a show of looking through my pockets. Oh, goodness gracious, I think I left them back at the house.
Ah, I see.
Oh.
How problematic.
Evelyn, I told you to start checking your pockets when we leave.
Eveline,
I thought for sure I had them.
manipulation, subterfuge.
Does she get a bonus from me?
Yeah, fuck it, I'm feeling generous with a +1. I believe in this instance, we can make an exception. We don't usually allow women in, but for you, we can make a very special exception. Please, enter inside.
I'll curtsy.
The coterie proceed into the lounge, and it hasn't changed since their last visit when they spoke with de Camden. The room is far busier, though, with plenty of people dressed in expensive formal suits, older gentlemen wearing the unmistakable red coat of the British Army. Thurston spots 3 likely marks. An older man, still in his army uniform, sporting a magnificent handlebar moustache. The only other woman in the entire room apart from Eveline, formally dressed, scandalously wearing trousers, but apparently in a conversation with another member of the club. And finally, a young waiter, who keeps looking disgusted at each member of the club as they turn their back to him.
Well, those 3 seem promising.
Kirsten, can you remind me exactly what we're doing here again?
We're looking for information on that, the cult of Mithras, I say as I make quotation marks.
Tonight, we are performing the duties of Thurston and his clan. We are seeking knowledge, scurrying about, and finding secrets.
Indeed. This place is frequented by members that believe in our dear Lord and Savior. He gives a wink. As you can see by the ornaments adorning the establishment. But I believe that those 3 over there might be our first step to what we are looking for. I know that I am not the one best at talking information out to people, ironically. But I do know that if we were to go over to those 3 over there, we might be able to find something of use.
I pull a knife out and look at Thurston. I'm quite adept at pulling out information.
No, not in that way, Inspector. We use words.
Is this
Words only.
your job?
Of course, it's part of the job. That's why we have those private rooms for interrogation. No one can see what happens.
Well, there are no private rooms here, Inspector, so unless you're willing to do that in a room full of people, I suggest to put the knives away.
Please don't do that.
Very well, very well. I'll let the others more adept at parley handle the situation.
Well, why don't we split up? Why don't we all take one?
That could work, yes.
No, of course, I'll go talk to her.
I'll speak to that happy bartender, or happy serving person. The one that's scowled.
Okay, I was going to say, is that the 3rd one? I guess that leaves me with the military dude.
He does have an impressive mustache.
It's true.
The coterie split up, each heading towards their mark. Thurston, approaching the grand handlebarred, obvious soldier. How would you like to get his attention, Thurston?
God, I don't know.
Does Thurston look like a burn victim or a shrapnel victim?
He's using mask.
No, I've got mask.
Oh, he looks
I
normal.
just look like some random schmuck. I'll just go up to him. Sir,
Ah! Good evening, young man.
I couldn't help but notice your... Fuck, I'm losing words now.
This is the problem with this very heavy social TTRPG, is that very often people who play TTRPGs are in fact in real life socially awkward. And then you put them in this situation in an RPG where they have to RP in a social situation.
It's true. I like your mustache.
It's a nice coat. Where'd you get that?
The military? I couldn't help but notice the clothes you're adorned with, sir.
Yes, indeed. Many years in the British Army, doing my bit with the British Expeditionary Force. Captain Deering.
Justin.
Pleasure,
Gray.
Sir. Pleasure. And where did you learn of our, shall we say, patron, sir?
Oh, I've known of him for quite some time. I probably couldn't put my finger on exactly where I first discovered it, but I do enjoy his teachings. How did you come acquainted with him?
Funny story, in fact. Funny story. I was posted in the Raj, you know. And it was during my tour of the Raj that I actually came first across the lore and legend of Mithras. And since then, it was like I was inspired. I simply had to know more. And it has led me to this point of my life. I've been a Mithraean for 25 years now. Complements a soldier's honour perfectly.
I could very much see that, yes.
And how advanced are you in the ways of our Lord?
Oh, I've just been a mere observer. I as much as I adore his teachings, I do not think that I am deserving of any higher praise from any.
Yes, I can quite agree. I myself have not advanced very far. I am but a mere low-level member. I'm not really interested in the advancement, you know. It's much better, I find, to be able to train new recruits.
So you do the training?
I have done some in my time, yes. You get these young whippersnappers coming in, barely know how to hold a bolly sword. I teach them the ways.
Yes, real quick, I guess like some adornment weapons are allowed in here, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
I imagine. Okay. I know a bit about that, and I'll kind of just flash in my sword a little. That sounds wrong. I show him the sword.
What an impressive sword you have! I think you need to hold that with two hands at the very least. Yes?
Nothing. I was gonna continue the innuendo, but I decided not to.
Oh, you suck.
So, you teach newcomers to use swords. I know.
Oh, not just swords. You know, I mean, it's rather simple showing them just with swords. You know, stick them with the pointy end. They also need to know how to defend themselves, how to move in combat. It's so nice it's so nice as well to see a young, new, fresh face. You know, not like some of these other people I've seen around. There's some very bally strange fellows around lately.
You tell. I don't think I've noticed them before.
Well, I noticed one or two asking what they thought were subtle questions, basically trying to find those who could be easily convinced to abandon Mithras in favor of what they are saying is the true Lord of the Sun.
Abandon Mithras.
Indeed.
It's
Blasphemous. Blasphemy.
insanity. Yes, but this Lord of the Sun, is that all that you've heard?
Charisma,
I
persuasion.
can imagine. Oh, just to continue on that, I can imagine that the other followers here probably are not too happy about a competing.
Well, there's more than one operating, of course, in a city as large as this, as grand as this. Obviously, there'll be more than one, but it's very, very inappropriate to try and headhunt members from others into yours.
Right.
Simply not
Roll?
done.
I'm sorry.
Charisma and persuasion.
It's been 2 weeks. How do I play VTM?
Hit persuasion.
Persuasion.
And then you select charisma.
I rarely use persuasion, so I couldn't find it. Charisma.
I'll give you that. Well, keep this between you and I, dear sir, but I may have been eavesdropping. Simply to understand the nature of the conversation, you see, not to be a gossip, of course. I did overhear them say something about a password. Follow the stars? I'm afraid, though, I have no idea where they meet.
Well, that is something to keep my eyes out for. I do hope that somebody at least deals with this other group so that they may stop headhunting our wondrous members.
Indeed. It only takes one bad egg.
To ruin the whole batch?
Don't have a batch of eggs. Who needs to eat that many eggs? Imagine being trapped in a ship with someone who only ate eggs for weeks. Oh. Bally disgusting.
Despicable. Well, I should probably rejoin with my associates, and I'll motion in the direction of Eveline, because I feel like she's much...
Well,
whatever.
meanwhile,
Yeah,
Eveline approaches the formally dressed woman, wearing trousers, remarkably. How would you like to get her attention?
Is she at a table?
No, she's standing, leaning against the
Is she
fire
alone?
hearth as she's talking with another member.
Oh, okay.
In fact, I'll tell you what. Do wits and awareness for me, please.
Not going to get far with that.
I'm going to give that to you.
Okay, good.
You will be able to recognize instantly as you approach her that she is kindred.
I will walk up to them and, assuming they have a lapse in conversation, will say, "Good evening. May I join you?"
Good evening. And she'll just nod to the person she was talking to, who'll wander off to the bar. How may I help you?
It's just so nice to see someone else like me here.
By like you. How do you mean?
Another woman, of course.
Ah, indeed. I am afraid, though, I am merely a visitor from Oxford. Ms. Richter. Jezebel Richter.
Eveline Nanya, it is a pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure is mine, I assure you.
I don't quite care for women at this club. What brings you here?
I admit I'm not exactly a believer. However, it is necessary, if you are willing to advance, to show an interest in the very least in Mithras. Don't care for the man myself, though.
So you're looking to advance with Mithras? But you don't believe in Mithras?
Well, I don't believe in the worship of him as a god. But it is necessary to show loyalty in order to be able to advance in this country.
It's only polite.
Of course. I'm hoping that, if I am able, Mithras will choose me to be Baron of Oxford, as it is currently technically under his rule.
Oh, I see. Have you met him?
Not yet, but I hope to have a word with him. I believe he is far too soft on transgressors. He should make use of crucifixions for kindred who don't fall in line. I hope to bring this matter to his attention. Nothing instills fear more than kindred being nailed to a cross to kiss the sun.
That is quite harsh indeed. No offense, but you're quite obviously not a gentle lady.
Being
And I
gentle
look down
gets
at her
you.
pants as I say that.
Being gentle gets you only so far in this world. Even our world. As you get older, you'll understand.
So, how do you plan to convince Mithras to make you Baron, especially since you're not from here?
Well, I shall soon be taking haven in the Bodleian Library. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but it is a very grand building in Oxford. A very old building. And I hope that by showing him I am privy to such luxuries, that he will be able to see latent talent. After all, London itself is busy, and Mithras has a habit of wandering. It would be one less thing for him to directly worry about.
What do you have that your competitors don't?
Cutthroat practices.
Does certainly sound that way. I'm hiding my hand like behind my skirts during this whole thing.
I was approached by someone claiming to follow the true Mithras. I rebuffed him, though. I care not for actual spiritual enlightenment, just power through rulership. You should be careful
You don't
of the
think he'll
same.
see through that?
I'm sorry.
You don't think he'll see through that?
I don't think Mithras particularly cares if we see him as a god or not, so long as we are loyal to him.
That's fair.
You should be careful. This person claimed that the true name of Mithras is Asmodeus. Clearly a misguided fellow. I don't think he will survive long.
Surely that's sacrilege even to you.
Sacrilege, anarchy, dissent, all things that should not be tolerated.
So I assume you think this person should be crucified.
At the very least. Perhaps put upon a rack and torn to pieces, limb by limb.
I see. I'm trying to determine if I need to ask her more. Okay. pants. So, would you recommend, woman to woman, following your same path, climbing the ranks in the cult?
Do manipulation and subterfuge, please.
Okay. This is not going to be good.
You can re-roll the
Ooh.
0 to get rid of the messy.
I am doing that. I'm going to re-roll the 0 on both force. Just,
Yep.
I got to re-roll something.
That's fine. If you wish to advance within this country, it's certainly a boon to you. But whatever you do, do not take the carriage outside with a red roof.
Don't take the carriage outside with the red roof?
Correct. That was the one
Why?
that this blasphemer told me about. If I changed my mind, to get inside the carriage and it would take me somewhere to worship this Asmodeus. He seemed
But if
somewhat disinterested.
Asmodeus is Mithras, wouldn't you just be going to worship Mithras?
Poppycock. The man was not very interested in me. He seemed to give more attention to Kine. Clearly he has an agenda of his own. None of my concern. Mithras can clean his own house.
Well, I mean, if you want to be Baron.
Perhaps it is something I can leverage for advantage. Perhaps it's something I might leave for him to play with.
And you're not curious to just go see what this Asmodeus is?
Not in the slightest. It is of no interest to me. The only thing that concerns me while I'm in this dreadful city is trying to gain favour enough to be declared Baron.
You better start liking the city then.
Meanwhile, Inspector Grey approaches a disgruntled waiter. You won't have to get his attention. He will notice you approaching and present the tray of drinks to you with a slight sigh.
I will take one of the drinks. Ah, you look to be having a wonderful evening tonight.
Yes, it's thrilling being here. It's a good thing they pay so well. Otherwise, I might offer to do this job for free.
Why would you want to do this job for free, waiting
It's called
hand and
sarcasm.
Yes,
Obviously, they
yes,
don't
it
teach
would
that
be.
in your high upper class schools.
No, no.
No, you just use each other's arse cheeks as toaster racks, don't you?
Sometime. You never know what people get behind closed doors. It's good that they pay you well to wait hand and foot when these people... They all seem dumb, don't they? Just scurrying about.
Are you not one of them?
No, I'm just enjoying the scene.
I find it distasteful, far too bourgeoisie for me.
That is understandable. I couldn't help but see your smile, and that's why I came over.
Yes, I'm thinking about what would happen to them if they tripped over and fell into a puddle. None of them ever give so much as a second thought about who brings them their food, drink. Just take it for granted that such decadence is on hand for them, whereas most of the city suffers in squalor.
Who do you think is most in need of being taken down a peg?
Ooh. Can I only pick one?
Yes, just one. If I'm going to embarrass someone, I don't want to get myself thrown out too quickly.
That new woman. She looks pompous and arrogant. And he'll nod towards Eveline.
Oh, yes. She can be pompous and arrogant. Absolutely, but she does have an amazing voice if you've heard her sing.
Oh yes, I'm sure that makes up for the way that she treats her staff.
Well, I never said that.
The only thing that comes as an advantage of being staff is they treat me as invisible. I hear them talk freely and openly. I even heard someone trying to convince them to come to some other club. A few people actually
Other
went.
club?
Yes, most of the young soldiers went. They returned to the city.
What's the other club?
I shouldn't really say that much. I've probably said too much already. If they figure out I've been talking, it would be my livelihood at risk. My barely livable livelihood.
Do you think the other club pays more or less?
I've hardly made any kind of inquiries, but I suspect if they're asking former soldiers who are just barely bourgeoisie, they'll pay probably slightly less.
I see. Well, this is such a good conversation and such a good drink. I feel obliged. I should tip you some, and I'll give him, what, like a pound? Pound a good... Yeah. 2 pounds?
It's not going to stop you doing the roll, I think, you cheapskate bribing bastard. Manipulation.
Okay.
Manipulation, subterfuge.
Okay.
Call that a bribe. Here's £1. You can buy 100 penny sweets with it.
Well, this was back in Victorian era, so I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, it's almost the equivalent of like a tenner.
Okay, so maybe if I gave him like
what?
10,
That's about $15. £10 would be too much. Just do the roll. There you go. That and £1. Well, seeing as how you are tipping so generously, I did hear them say they are meeting up on the outskirts of London's West End, a small hamlet called Heath Row. Apparently there is a pub there called the Three Magpies. They will meet up. I heard it had been closed recently, though, due to new management. Would you like directions?
Sure. If you're busy, I'm sure I can find it. But knowing the name is good. Heathrow. Perhaps I will take a look at it.
And you let the conversation slowly wind down. And the three of you meet up afterwards to exchange information.
I received a address for a new club that's been sniping members.
Yes, that's what I heard as well.
There's also yet another one with a carriage outside with a red top. Will take us to a cult for Asmodeus?
Interesting.
That is, I feel like I would have told you this in my blurb at the beginning. That is the name we are looking for.
I didn't hear anything about an Asmodeus cult. just another stand-up Mythos cult.
Apparently,
It was-
Asclepius is supposed to be the real Mithras.
Oh, I've never heard that. That seems strange.
I think that's
Yes, I heard something about the followers of the. I don't remember the exact wording, but it was something to do with the sun. I know the sun was important.
The guy with the password, everyone.
it would be really helpful if his clan was like the type that gathered information.
Mm-hmm.
If only such a thing existed.
Well, it seems like we have all the information we need. There's a Asmodeus cult masquerading as a Mithraean cult, and we have a taxi ride to take us there. There's nothing else we need, right?
Soon we won't even have to pay for it.
Yes, we could just be interested.
Indeed. I've heard that the members that they've been scalping have been those of the warrior type, usually ones being trained in the art of swordplay.
Oh, Thurston, you're quite adept at swordplay, aren't you? You carry quite a big sword.
Yes, I was told that it requires 2 hands.
Very good. Well, if you let these taxi drivers know that you have a big sword that you use 2 hands to wield, surely they will snatch you up. I've just got these daggers I use.
Is it the taxi driver that would care about the size of my sword, or the cult?
Suppose if we let them both know.
I could let them both take a gander and see what their interest is in the size of my sword.
Please do not approach the taxi driver and ask him if they'd like to see your sword.
Oh yes, that could be misconstrued. They might think you're trying to rob them.
Oh no, I would reassure them that I just want to show them what skills I have with wielding my 2-handed sword.
Shall we be going then?
Speaking of things they might be looking for, it does seem like they're more interested than in kind than kindred.
Mhm.
Oh, well, that would put a damper on the party, wouldn't it?
We just have to not let anyone know what we are.
Easier said than done. I care little for disguising who I am.
I mean, I don't mind doing either. It is curious on why they prefer kind, though. Maybe they're more susceptible to whatever they're doing.
Or malleable. Kind are always so malleable.
Are we?
Indeed.
It's why they're food.
Mm-hmm.
So easy to toy with.
And if you're not careful, so easy to dispose of.
I'm giving the inspector a meaningful look there.
Yes, Eveline. You seem like you want to say something.
Just don't dispose of any more kind tonight, please.
Unless it's absolutely necessary.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, I only dispose of them when it's necessary. Like whenever I'm hungry. It's not an issue.
Be true.
You have lost all of your manners.
Shall we be going then? I'll put my hand forward for the Lady Eveline.
I'll take Thurston's arm instead.
I'll grumble. I've got manners.
Are you heading towards the red-roofed carriage, then, as you leave?
Yes.
The coterie leave the tourist club and head out into the cold winter streets of London. The bitter cold rain spits through the air and the kindred's own clothing and skin as they search for the carriage to take them away from the club, eventually finding it, and silently boarding it. Without any words being spoken, the carriage heads off, further into the West End. Inspector... yes, Inspector Grey?
I was going to ask if I can mend a superficial view in the chair.
Ooh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Thanks for
Do a
reminding.
rounds check
Oh wait,
roll,
no, I already
please.
did that.
Wonderful.
And
As you are... Heal...
2 potency. Do I heal
Heal 2.
2?
As you are heading off towards this mysterious cult of the unknown, Thurston, you have the best idea of why you're doing this, what you're going to be facing. What's Thurston thinking and feeling right now?
Now that it's been revealed that they're going after, even though they're just kind, or majority of them are kind, that they're going for people that are more attuned with combat. A bit worried, because there was, that worry before of, oh, we've dealt with a demon before. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to make it easier. It's just we've done it before. Whereas this is kind of going, oh, cool. Instead of just a bunch of people in robes, they're going to be a bunch of people in robes with swords. So, a bit worrying.
Eveline, what's going through your mind and feelings right now?
Yet again, she's annoyed at the inspector.
Common theme.
is going to suggest again that they disguise themselves as kind, but is worried that not only will he not do it, but he will screw it up somehow. She's just worried about the whole thing going wrong, especially without Aldrich there, because she leans on Aldrich pretty heavily.
Inspector Grey.
Inspector Gray's in a pretty good mood. He's not the least bit hungry. He's patched himself up a little bit, and he's got some goals and objectives. He's going to go see this Asmodeus cult, maybe get some action. And, he couldn't be bothered to try to disguise himself as kind, because why would he?
And at this juncture, we'll take a quick break, but before we do, I'll just say thank you to Star Helix for the bits between sessions. And we'll be back spoonly. Welcome back. As the carriage heads through the West End, even passing by the steam room that Eveline was once in charge of, now seemingly in possession of another who seems to now only offer regular saunas to customers, the gaslights begin to become thinner spread as the carriage begins to leave the more developed areas of the city behind, until just the stars and the odd window light are the only sources of light the coterie can see. Is there anything you wish to discuss before you arrive at the Three Magpies pub in Heathrow?
Where have we been there?
You've never been there before.
Okay.
What is our plan?
Well, if Aldrich was here, he'd say something about doing reconnaissance, which is probably a good idea.
All right, so we will send Thurston in first.
Mm-hmm.
If we're seeing you, we should disguise ourselves as Kine. And I cast Bush Life.
Do a rouse check for me, please. You are aroused. Gain a hunger.
Just double checking how long. Mask.
Plus your life lasts the whole night. Oh, Mask of 1,000
No.
Faces. It's a scene change, I think? Yeah.
Got it. Yep.
Lady Eveline will be our point woman. Should I stay hidden and follow her around, or?
To be completely honest, as well as I think Evelyn would be as a point woman, I feel like you and I, Inspector, would be the kind of people that this place is looking for. We might be able to convince them quite easily that we are interested.
Well, I suppose we could just go as a group then. We could be the good lady's bodyguards.
True. She may not have a sword, but she wields those scissors quite well.
Indeed, indeed.
But other than reconnaissance, I guess once we get there and figure out what all is going on there, I don't know what else we can prepare for, to be completely honest.
Well, I have my knives on me.
Precisely why I thought that you would be a good front man.
Very well, then. Our plan is to walk up as a group and hope for the best. And if things go awry, we have our weapon.
Precisely.
Sounds
you
like
have your... Indeed. Thurston has his sword. I have my knives. And I feel sorry for the man who will get between Lady Eveline's scissors and be cut in two.
I think I just choked on my grape.
I'm sorry.
That's what happens when you scissor someone.
Those are like some magical scissors, man. They're enchanted and devastating.
Quit complimenting Evelyn.
No, I'm talking
And
about
her ability
the
with her
weapon.
scissors. The carriage eventually arrives in the small, quiet hamlet of Heath Row, a sleepy, quiet area with a large building of London directly behind them, and the glow of the city warming the night sky in the distance. The Three Magpies has a small candle lit in one of its windows, and a mirror in another perfectly reflecting the night starry skies above. How would you like to proceed?
I'm sorry, I was trying to cover up a GIF that popped up. Can you repeat the beginning of that, please? That was the face I made.
I'm sorry, everyone. It's my fault.
The carriage eventually arrives in the hamlet of Heath Row, a sleepy, quiet area with the large buildings of London directly behind them, and the glow of the city warming the night sky in the distance. The Three Magpies pub has a small candle lit in one of its windows, and a mirror reflecting the night starry sky above perfectly. in another.
I will get out of the carriage, and I will put my hand up to assist Thurston and Evelyn from disembarking.
Oh yeah, I would daintily give my hand to Inspector Gray to assist me out of the carriage.
Did you want to cast Mask of a Thousand Faces at this point?
Oh yes, I will do that, and I will. Does that cover up? Or
You would still need a Blush of Life to give the illusion of life.
thank you. I will do both then.
2 rouse checks for me, please. Wonderful. 2 crits. Way to waste those crits.
Right. Thanks, Roll20.
The pub is packed. Each
Thank
table has a group of people sitting around it, each of them with a glass of drink in front of them. Different men and women all sit in silence, just looking at each other and their drink. Behind the small, well-stocked bar is a man currently cleaning a glass.
I've got this. I did not mention earlier, but I was given a password. I will approach the bar and lean on it with one elbow. Excuse me, Mr. Bartender?
He won't say a word, just look at you. Stop cleaning the glass.
I was informed that my friends here and I could come here to follow the stars.
He'll put the glass down and gesture for you to follow him. He invites the coterie to the back room, cleverly disguised doorway hidden behind shelving units. The door opens silently as the coterie go inside. The barman hands them each a small candle with a candle holder with a lit candle in it, and says, "Mind your step going down," as he gestures to the staircase that leads into the pub's cellar.
I'll hold the candle far away from me.
Going forward?
Yes.
Me in
Is there
front.
anything you wish to talk about before you make it to the bottom of the staircase?
Where the guy's not following us, he just opened the door for us, correct?
Correct.
Definitely not a kindred establishment if they're handing out candles to everybody seeking it.
Also, no one is talking.
Yes, it was quite rude. I was very considerate to that bartender to address him formally, and he did not reciprocate.
Did we check to see if he had his tongue?
No,
He
I
did say
not
mind your
think
step as
to
you go
do that.
down.
Oh, yes, he did. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Maybe it's more of a quiet following.
Well, I don't like that.
Well,
Neither do I.
if the audience is silent, all the better for them to hear your song.
True. Then I'll hum as we walk.
I will pat Thurston on the shoulder. Proceed.
Thank you, Inspector.
The coterie step off the final step, and after rounding a corner, walk into a grand room. Crimson paint-lined walls, with long flags displaying a bull's skull, densely packed into the large underground room, is a crowd of people, and as the coterie's eyes scan over the scene, they find at the head of the room, atop a strange, covered stone altar, seemingly made into the shape of a 2-headed bull, is the decaying body of Nara. A large wooden pole sticking out of her chest, and large metal stakes usually used in railway tracks nailed into the body's rotting hands and legs.
Of who?
Nara.
Nara. Oh, okay.
With the seemingly dead and rotting body of Nara easily seen by all of you, and now surrounded by a large amount of potentially dangerous cultists. What are you all feeling right now?
Oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck.
So that's where Nora's been. This is problematic.
Inspector Grey, what are you thinking and feeling here? Because it is technically your fault.
Is it?
You ran off and left her in the fog on her own.
Well, she should have survived better.
That's
fair.
3 humanity talking.
Thurston,
Blind woman out in the fog.
we'll come back to you, Evelyn, because I think you're probably going to have the strongest feelings on these. Thurston, seeing the rotting body of Nara there, knowing that it is in fact probably because of Inspector Grey leaving this poor, blind kindred to fend for herself in the fog. What's going through your mind right now? What are you feeling?
Concerned, considering that any cult presence that is guising themselves under Mithras inherently seems pro-kindred, and I guess that since they prefer kind, like our intel suggested, probably should have had us guess at an outcome like this. So it's a little worrying because not only is this just a random, quote-unquote random, cult, but now it's probably a cult that, even though they're under the influence of Mithras, again, quote-unquote, they're probably very anti-kindred, like the one that we encountered however long ago, that I think at the time I said seemed very counterintuitive.
Evelyn, you were quite attached to Nara. She was the only other woman in the coterie at one point as well. Seeing her body there, knowing that you women especially need to stick together in Victorian England, realising that Inspector Grey left her to fend for herself, what are you thinking and feeling?
Guilt. Even though it was Inspector Grey that left her, I should have gone after her. And for once, I'm actually not blaming Inspector Grey for this. I'm blaming myself.
There are several cultists in the vicinity, all seemingly well dressed and appearing to be from the upper echelons of society, seemingly chatting away casually with each other. What would you like to do?
I would like to approach a group and just kind of join them. Do that whole stand around till they let you in thing.
Yeah.
I will stay by Lady Evelyn's side, acting as her.
This group's conversation will slowly wind down, and one of them will turn and greet you. Ah! Hello!
Good evening.
Pleasure to see new faces here.
Quite. Oh, God, sorry.
We were just told to come here for enlightenment. What is this?
Oh, I understand. Well, we worship Mithras, and things can be revealed to you through investment of money, or sometimes special tasks, and you can climb through the ranks. Those who disappoint our Lord are punished by metal whip or being isolated in the hole. I believe Nigel, that man over there, has advanced. He'd probably be happy to talk about it. And he gestures over to a well-dressed man in a mid-length black felt coat that's been buttoned up.
Is that what happened to her? And I point to Naya.
I have not been privy to any such details. We merely worship in front of said thing. Perhaps it is tribute to our Lord.
I have heard that this organization is the greatest of all time. Yes, it certainly looks that way with the altars and such.
With such a sorry, what was the word that he used for Nara's body up there? Tribute. Sorry. For a tribute such as that, why leave it up there for so long that it begins to rot away?
It wasn't even up there for that long, as far as I remember. Perhaps it's been left as a kind of warning to the rest of us to constantly excel and never disappoint.
Oh, was she one of the members that failed miserably and was punished?
I'm not entirely sure. It would be a guess. It is possible. It is also possible she did something else to transgress against us and our Lord. Who can say?
Well, we'll certainly need to make sure we excel. And I'll chuckle.
Indeed.
That is a very powerful point.
We are clearly new. Since we are clearly new members looking to acquaint ourselves with his teachings, is there anyone in particular we should speak to?
Most
I
definitely.
think he already
not.
said that guy.
If you did, I apologize. I was taken in by the surrounding.
It's quite overwhelming at first, I understand. Praise the sun.
Praise the sun.
I would like to take a look around to see if anyone looks particularly hairy. Namely, I'm looking for werewolves like we encountered at a Mithras thing before.
Oh gosh, yeah.
I don't have any special ability to do this.
I
which
like
is why
the
I'm
fact
looking
that,
for hairy.
yeah, because you know, apparently lupine when they're in human form are especially hairy. Christ, never go to fucking Italy, Greece, or France.
Well,
People probably think that.
yeah. That's
I mean,
where
if
werewolves come from,
you're
right?
doing that, have you seen Noscavian?
I mean, I am subscribed to his OnlyFans.
Oh, we all. No one's going to look abnormally hairy.
No one's gonna stand out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's definitely no werewolves or werebears here. Got it.
But we're fish.
Those exist. They actually do exist.
I know.
You know, it'd be really inconvenient because you're not supposed to have werewolves lose control. Never. Oh, I need to stick to the topic. I'm going to head over tonight.
I'll follow him.
Make your way over to the very smartly dressed man. Ah, good evening. Fresh faces, new recruits. Wonderful, wonderful.
Good evening, Nigel. Have we met before?
Not that I know of. I would recognize such a hairy face.
Oh, very well then. Good evening to you. Quite the spectacular place you have here.
Oh, it's not mine. I have advanced, though, in the ranks.
Good on you.
It's amazing what money can buy these days. Amazing.
So I hear that you can advance through donations and tasks. I take it you donated?
I did, and I was awakened more in the journey of our worship of Mithras.
That is good.
While the inspector is conversing with this man, I would like to cast Sense the Beast on him.
Yeah, show me Sense of Beast. Actually, no, I'm going to give that to you as an automatic success. Oh, actually, no, show me it.
Because, yeah, I think Evelyn and I both made the same face when he chuckled.
Yeah, do the roll for me, please.
It wouldn't make sense that he's kindred, but that's just odd that he...
You sense more than kindred with Sense the Beast, right?
On
True,
a critical.
yeah.
He is not kindred. He doesn't seem to have any hostile intent towards you either.
Okay.
Right. And you will feel something inside of him. Some force.
But nothing I've ever sensed before when doing this, I assume.
Casting my memory back, I don't believe you've sensed this before, no.
Yeah. If as a player I'm expecting like the demon part of it is probably what, and Thurston has not done Sense the Beast on any of Endymion's people, so
I will say, it was Nigel, was it?
Yes.
Yes, this Mithraean cult seems quite different than the others I've been to. I quite like it.
It's lovely, isn't it? Charming. Fairly recently arrived in the city, but look at our numbers already. Thriving.
What makes it
Indeed.
so different?
You don't necessarily have to be a member of any kind of armed forces in the past. In fact, we're quite open to you being a pacifist if you so wish.
And a woman?
What woman?
Are women
was
allowed?
Was that a woman? I couldn't tell. She's rotted away so much it's hard to make out detail. Do
Why
for
is she up
me.
there?
Wit or intelligence and insight, please. Wonderful.
damn.
As he is speaking about Nara, you'll realize that he is being honest, that he didn't realize it was the body of a woman. But he is clearly hiding something he knows.
So why is she up there?
I'm not entirely sure why she is up there. And he's deliberately trying to hold something back from the rest of that sentence. He ends his sentence as if it's midway through, holding himself back.
If the state that the body is in, I can expect that whatever she was used for was, I assume, shit, I lost my train of thought. Set as an example of something that maybe this gathering is against. What could be so blasphemous that your body is displayed as it rots into nothingness?
Do manipulation
Whoa.
and subterfuge for me, please. With a +1 modifier from Eveline and her insight being there as well, I think.
You said subterfuge and what?
Manipulation.
I'm gonna re-roll the 0.
We roll the 0 and the 5.
And the
Yeah.
5, yeah. Gonna do that by... Wait, did I roll that right? No. I hit the button that says willpower, not the button that says WP reroll.
The irony is that you made the command for the willpower thing. Okay, that brings you down to 4 successes, but that is still enough. He'll lean towards you. He'll say, I shouldn't tell you this. I don't know why she's there. I don't know what the purpose is, but I can tell you that that altar is very important. On the inside is our Lord himself.
So it must be a privilege to be sacrificed to the Lord.
Perhaps so.
Perhaps she had raised high enough in the ranks to gain such a favor.
Oh, I hadn't considered that. Perhaps indeed.
How many people are in here, by the way?
20, 30.
Okay.
A wave of silence wanders over the crowd as a cloaked figure stands in front of them, standing with the body of Nara behind him, his arms outstretched in a mocking pose of Christ as he begins to address the crowd. The man conducts a sermon talking about the stars in the sky, the star sign Taurus, and how it relates to the congregation. Eventually the sermon winds down, and the crowd seems energized until the cloaked figure once more calls for silence and says, It seems we have new members to the flock. You 3, come forward. Come to our Lord Mithras. And he is pointing quite clearly at the coterie.
Up to, like, the area where the podium's at?
Mm-hmm.
I will proceed forward.
Everyone proceeding forward?
Yeah, sorry, I nodded in agreement.
As the coterie begin to approach the altar, they feel an intangible tendril creeping into their minds. Thurston feels unable to center himself and get his bearings. The room has disappeared, and he finds himself walking forward still in a strange mist, eventually coming to a halt, not seeing the point of fumbling forwards any more, when he can hear the distant sounds of children at play. The sounds grow louder, as if they come closer to him despite him not moving. Thurston is strangely familiar with the voices, as if they jostle some loose memories that he thought he had long escaped. The children's voices begin to dance around him, mocking him, singing a song to the tune of Ring Around the Roses, as his cloud at the state of his being. Then a snap. Something impacts with Thurston as if a large hard ball had been thrown at his face, and a strange new voice injects itself straight into his skull.
What will you do, Thurston? Will you tolerate such insolence from these feeble creatures? Destroy them, revel in your nature? Or will you tolerate them? Allow these creatures to torment that which they do not understand? Afford them their own sense of satisfaction in exchange for a small moment of your own discomfort?
That would depend if this was meant to cause me discomfort. I've been made fully aware of my predicament for far longer than one might expect. And little peons such as this pointing out something that I already know, and, in fact, wear quite proudly, along with my beautiful clothes, I do not understand how that might bother me in any shape or form. I will not kill them, but I will not give them the satisfaction of my attention.
What are you going to do?
Nothing, I'm going to stand there.
Do a willpower roll for me, please. Difficulty 3.
We all heard the children, right?
Nope.
No? Okay.
You said willpower, right?
Correct.
Okay, it didn't come up with a difficulty thing.
Oh, did it not?
I don't think willpower does. I was just expecting
okay, that's
it.
fine. Inspector Gray's eyes begin to be filled with mist, as everything around him fades to nothingness. The sounds of a campfire crackling and a quiet whistling wind dances into his eyes. Beneath him, he realizes the feeling of sitting on a hard wooden log. His foggy, slightly blurred vision begins to return, and he finds himself in a familiar memory. Sat around the campfire in a clearing in the woods, circled around with his old friends from his teenage years, sat forward listening intently as Gray slowly finishes reciting a tale of drama from his past. One of them leans forward and says, "Look, Cassius, this isn't the first time you've told us a tale that was quite so hard to believe. Did this really happen?"
Of course it happened. Of course it happened. Do you call me a liar?
But if it happened, then how did you manage to get away from the peelers chasing you?
I've got friends.
Well, okay then, but how did you end up here? Poor, beaten, and nothing to your name if you managed to get that much money.
I had to bribe people. I ended up losing most of the money.
The unfamiliar voice cracks through Gray's skull.
Are you going to allow this pathetic small creature to question your word? Does it matter if you are telling the truth, so long as the story enticed them all? Are you going to tolerate this affront to your honor? What will you do? Destroy them? Or allow yourself to be embarrassed?
Now, I'm assuming I have my current humanity of humanity. Right? That's right. Listen, don't question my story. Just enjoy it. Like, you're making me look bad. I won't have.
Pardon?
What?
What did you say? You roll half?
Oh, I said, stop questioning my story before I shut you up.
Of course I'm going to question your story. It's unbelievable.
I'll give you something to question, and I am going to push him into the fire.
Strength, brawl. Inspector Gray stands up, picks up his friend and throws him face first into the fire, and watches as the small child begins to burn and turn to ash. Eveline's vision ceases to nothingness as she advances towards the body of Nara, eventually clearing before her, and finds herself surrounded by a cascade of overwhelming voices, the smell of smoke and fresh air in her nostrils, An entertainer's voice rings through the air, introducing Eveline as the attraction for the gathered crowd. She hears the drawing of heavy, thick curtains being opened, and feels the warmth of stage light over her skin. The crowd immediately boos and jeers, throwing pieces of rotten food at her, humiliating her before she has even been able to perform.
This crowd doesn't even acknowledge you. They can only see what you are on the surface. They care not for your talents. You are nothing but something for them to abuse. Annihilate them. Turn them to dust. Do not disappoint me, Eveline. Show them your wrath.
Is this Endymion? Can I tell?
Does it sound like Endymion?
And not necessarily, but that doesn't mean a whole lot.
It's not Endymion.
Okay, it's not Endymion. I will sing. I will sing the best that I can. Let's see. I will sing an opera about war and death.
Willpower roll for me, please.
Oh wait, should I have gotten a +1 for that because I'm singing?
Nope.
Okay.
Eveline, unperturbed by the crowd, begins to sing to the best of her abilities the beautiful melody of Why Can't We Be Friends?
What does the crowd do?
Slowly, the room fades back into vision. Inspector Grey and Thurston are frozen to the spot. However, Eveline is able to approach the altar and sees the body of Nara. Nara's eyes have been removed. A gaping hole is inside her chest where her heart once was. The wooden stake embedded in the middle of her torso seems on the opposite side, and the rusted iron metal railings pierce her arms and legs. What do you feel as you see this?
Grief and guilt, and I would pull out the stake and the rods and just start throwing them behind, trying to make her as restored to her previous beautiful form as possible.
Yeah. Does anyone have Sense the Unseen?
I have Sense the Unseen.
Roll Sense the Unseen for me, please.
Lady.
You said Gray and I are frozen?
You are frozen on the spot.
Gotcha.
2.
I might do a willpower reroll. Try to get some more. We roll 3 of them.
Oh, beautiful.
Ooh, and that's a crit too.
Inspector Grey can see crimson tendrils leaking out underneath Nara's body. You'll be able to call that out to Eveline if you wish.
Yeah. Eveline, there's blood-like crimson tendrils linking Nara to that altar, or flowing from Nara to the altar.
It's flowing straight out of the altar, not
Oh,
Nara.
sorry.
It's distinctly
Flowing.
away.
There's tendrils flowing out of the altar, and I guess grasping Nara, or something like that. There's
I can
tendrils
assume
of...
it's similar to the tendrils that she saw probably emanating from us.
Yeah. Some
So-
sort of... There's a unseen force or entity. The tendrils of power are emanating from the altar.
I'm confused as to what the tendrils are doing. Are they attached to Nara in any way?
They're not attached to Nara in any way, shape, or form.
I would
My
like to
bad.
try to get her body out of the room as soon as possible.
Do strength and strength for me.
This isn't going to go well.
Good. Would you like success at cost?
Yeah, I'll take success cost.
Excellent. You attempt to lift Nara's body off of the lid of the altar. Unfortunately, it crumbles to dust as you do so, but you do manage to lift the lid off the altar, exposing the hollowed-out stone, inside of which, neatly placed, is an ebony statue, run through with flecks of gold, that appears as a many-armed priest staring towards the sky. And the voice of Endymion cracks through your skull.
Destroy it, children of Cain, now, before it is too late.
I would like to scream at the statue. Namely.
Drum thing?
Yeah.
Do a rouse check and death of the drum for me, please. Better believe it, that's a success. Eveline looses one of her famous screams, shattering the reliquary inside, breaking it into pieces, and you hear,
From hell's heart I stab at thee. For hate's sake I spit my last breath at thee. For vengeance' sake my last curse shall be on you. And since I can have no followers, neither shall you.
As the reliquary is broken, most of the people let out a blood-curdling, high-pitched scream in unison, as their skin, flesh and muscle are blown off their bones, fading into dust, as their skeletons, frozen in their death pose, crumple to the floor, leaving only ash in their wake. A few terrified people huddle together in a corner, shocked and confused by what they have seen. Inspector Grey and Thurston, you are no longer frozen to the spot.
Would like to start running out and grab them as I run. Like, grab their arms.
Yeah, I can say that was a well done. Or I think we can count that as a job well done, as she grabs and yanks us out of the room.
Yes, but we need to investigate.
Are you taking the 3 people with you or leaving them? There's 2 men and 1 woman.
We shouldn't leave witnesses.
Yes. You there. This is quite a tragic sight. We need to decompress and discuss what we've seen. Come, we have a safe house for you to follow us to.
Oh, yes, indeed.
What the hell just happened? Who are you people?
Do you care? Let's get out of here!
We're just as confused as you are.
I'm certainly willing to get out of here. And
We will take you to safety.
we'll discuss that as we're out.
I'm like
And,
dragging as many people as I can grab a hold of.
The 2 men and the woman will get up and follow you out as you go through the pub, seeing piles of ash where people once sat. And you make it outside into the cold wintry night, with London just off in the distance. The 2 men and women and 1 woman come to a halt. This far? No further. That was ungodly things.
Oh, yes, most definitely. But we
Quite
do
literal.
have... Yeah, we do have a quite... words now. A quite nice home that we could take you to. We could give you some tea, help calm the nerves.
I have my own home, my own servants, my own tea. They don't call me Harold Williamson III for nothing, you know.
I did not know that, but thank you for the information.
I'm He'll check his pocket watch. I'm hardly in the mood for making friends. I need none. He'll tuck his pocket watch away and just start marching off.
I look at the
towards the
woman.
city.
Are you with him?
With Harry? No. No one's with Harry. He is... No.
Well, our offer extends to you as well, if you wish.
Thurston,
know.
Eveline. Sorry.
I don't know. It's a bit... The things I've seen, I'm not sure I feel safe.
Evelyn stops, sighs, holds out her hand and says, I'll keep you safe.
I was hoping you were going to say, come with me if you want to live. Charisma, persuasion.
It's... No. Mm.
Do you promise?
It is quite late for a lady.
Excuse me, ladies are talking here.
My apologies. Just trying to give Evelyn a +1, but okay.
I'm just trying to give her a fucking sacrifice to Endymion here.
I know it, I'm trying to help.
Yeah, you're getting in the way. She's got to be the one to keep her safe. Anyway.
Let Harry run off into the fucking night, not realizing it's Harry.
Oh, that's Harry. Yeah, I was getting ready to chase after him.
Do you promise to keep me safe?
One blood red tear will drip from my eye. And I'll say, I promise to keep you safe.
Well, that doesn't seem suspicious at all. Of course, I will gladly if you will keep me safe. What would you like to do with the remaining man? Oh, sorry.
I'll flag down a taxi and lead her into the carriage.
Okay.
Eveline, please take good care of these good people. Thurston, I think you and I need to go make sure our friend Harry gets home safe.
Yes,
How far gone is
yes,
he?
of course.
He's gone. Back towards
We can't
the city.
chase after him.
Yeah, I think Muscavian and I were so caught up in should we let him go after seeing that we didn't realize when you said Harry that he is the Harry.
So it's okay
You'll probably walk down the path a little bit, and you'll find his pocket watch has loosened itself from his pocket somehow, but there is no trace of him.
If only Thurston could have been his side.
Are you all getting in the same carriage?
Sure. If we can't find him.
I'll definitely pocket his pocket watch that he so graciously left.
The other did.
That's going to be my next question. What would you like to do with the remaining man?
We could always bring him along and keep him safe as well. I'm sure the more the merrier.
I assure you, I am not a merry man.
Well,
this is quite a frightening time. Please, we all need to calm our nerves. Join us for tea.
Charisma and persuasion, please.
Uh-oh. I should let someone else do that.
You like success at cost? You don't have to have success at cost if you don't want it. It is optional.
I'll fail. I'll let someone else give it a try.
And he'll just look up at you and go, no.
I have some of the most exquisite tea in London. If that doesn't calm your nerves, I don't know what would, considering what we've witnessed tonight. And
How
we
exquisite.
even have... Well, and it was imported from Egypt.
Best tea.
Thanks. Yeah.
It was from the Setites. That's why I said
Do you have
Egypt.
biscuits?
Oh yes, we have all assortment of snacks. that you
Charisma,
would
persuasion, with a +1 modifier for biscuits.
like. Thurston's sitting here going, I don't fucking know if we have biscuits. You're gonna die as soon as we get there.
And this guy's British, like,
persuasion-
tea with biscuits? Worth risk dying for.
+1 because biscuits.
Perfect. Well, if you've got biscuits and fine, exquisite Egyptian tea, I could certainly do with something to settle my nerves. And it would be a shame to leave Sandra here in the care of strangers. I think she's probably shaken up.
Of course.
Oh, she'll be fine.
Yes, Evelyn. She's in quite good hands here with Evelyn.
And the 3 kindred and 2 kine get into the carriage, which begins to make its way, I assume, back to the Whitechapel house.
Yeah.
And
We
the woman
used to
will-
have a. Oh,
Sorry, no, go on.
We used to have a state farm, but now we have a house in Whitechapel. But you'll still be in good hands. I assure you.
I'm sorry. Did you say Whitechapel?
Yes.
Yes.
I thought you said we'd be safe.
That is safe.
Whitechapel is not safe. It is one of possibly the most dangerous places in London. Do you not know what happened there? Not that long ago?
I was trying to make an insurance company joke, okay?
Now you know how I feel when I just make little throwaway lines and you're all like, oh! I love this power.
It's okay, trust me. You'll be safe with us.
We do live in one of the finest homes there, with quite good security.
Charisma, performance with a +1 modifier. Blow that out of the water.
Who's rolling?
I assumed
Evelyn.
it was Miss Evelyn. Yeah.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Charisma, performance with a +1 modifier. Oh yeah. That's quite low for you though.
Right?
The man will look a bit confused for a moment and then just settle back. Okay. I'm just thinking of Sandra here, our member of the fairer sex. But I will take your word for it. And Sandra is just going to be sat there. Really? Whitechapel? You promise you'll keep me safe?
Yes. Stop
Very
making me
well.
promise.
Why? What's wrong with promising? Why wouldn't you want to promise? You already promised. It's too late now. No
Promise.
take backsies.
I already promised, so stop questioning it.
Well, it's been an evening. Did you see those skeletons?
Yes.
And you just screamed. And it happened.
It
Is
was
that
scary.
because of your scream?
No, I was scared. Weren't you scared?
Not until I saw the skeletons.
Now you see why I was scared.
You weren't. You weren't concerned before about the rotting carcass up above the altar?
Well, what's a rotting carcass going to do? It's dead.
It's scary.
I mean,
And
smelled
grotesque
a bit
and
off.
just not part of a very well laid table.
Well, so is
Isn't
he,
a
but
rotting
I'm
car-
in the carriage with him.
Isn't a rotting carcass just a skeleton that has not aged properly?
But the difference was that had rotted over a period of time. Those skeletons were instant. I'd never seen
That's
such
scary.
furious force before.
Well, who knows what it could have been? We've heard those stories of people harnessing electricity in weird ways, and I can imagine that's going awry.
This is why
It
no one wants
may
to be a
not be
woman in a
as-
meeting.
Yeah. I do believe that something behind what happened tonight has a fine explanation, but for right now, it's best not to think about it.
The carriage will head on into Whitechapel, eventually stopping back outside your haven. And you invite the man and the woman, Sandra and Barry, inside. Well, Barry speaks. There's not many places like this in Whitechapel.
We told you.
Very grand. Very grand. What about those biscuits?
Dear, will you help me get the biscuits? They're downstairs.
You talk
And
to
I will
Sandra?
lead Sandra into the basement.
Of course, of course. Of course. And she'll follow you off into the cellar. And you will descend down into the stone staircase, where the portrait of Lady Anne Bosley hangs innocently on the wall. What would you like to do?
I have to kill her, right?
Well, you should at least tell Endymion that this is your sacrifice first.
Okay. Will this do?
I will accept your sacrifice, perform the ritual.
Who are you talking to?
I will brush her cheek with my hand
I say.
and say, I'm sorry. And stab her in the stomach with the scissors.
And she'll just about manage to get out. Sorry. Strength, melee. Let's see
Can
if
I
we
use
turn this-
dexterity?
That's what you're supposed to use, yes. Dexterity and melee. Thank you.
Good, because that's where I put my extra die.
Let's see if we can turn this fatality into a brutality. Oh, you're fine.
Ooh.
Going for
That's
quick and
just-
clean.
Yeah. Eveline plunges the sharp scissors straight into the woman's stomach and pulls them to the side. Blood and pieces of intestines spill out immediately, and before her body hits the floor, the entire room fades to blackness. Eveline and the body are enveloped by strobing red lights, as Sandra's body is elevated into the air, stripped of flesh, and sucked into the portrait. And the voice of Endymion.
Your sacrifice was accepted.
And the room fades back.
Is there any blood left?
Do you want there to be?
No, I want my dress to be clean.
Oh, your dress is perfectly fine, yeah.
Okay.
And Eveline turns from the cellar, silently heading up the stairs, What are you feeling right now, Eveline?
Very guilty. Sad. Like she lost a piece of herself.
And you will be taking 2 humanity stains. Actually, let's make it 3 because you did promise this poor woman, and she was perfectly innocent. And you were only doing
She
it to
was not
further
a
your own
cult.
goals. What? Are you
Yeah,
cultist
she
now?
obviously wasn't involved though, because she survived.
Don't be cult racist, Thurston.
Cultist. Wait.
It's called cultist. Yeah.
Don't be cult. Well, wait.
Oh, by the way, Barry. Barry, was it?
Yes, Barry. Barricade!
Our assortment of biscuits is so wide, along with our exquisite tea.
Sorry,
Would
I'm
you
just so
come
proud
down-
of Barricade. Alright there on the spot like that, I'm sorry.
Would you be a would you be a dear and come down to the basement with me? It'd be much easier for you to pick out what you want from our selection than me just ask you and us not have it.
I can hardly resist the temptation of biscuits now, sir. Come! Lead on.
Yeah, I'll lead them down to the basement.
You'll pass Eveline, looking very morose. Smile,
Awesome,
dear.
like, just facing straight ahead and just rushing along.
And Barry's like, oh, smile.
I should stab him with the scissors for that.
Once we get down to the basement, hey,
Where's the
Mr.
biscuits?
just 1 second. I need to call for the host so he can point me in the right direction. I don't come down here often. It's mostly to help, you know. Been so tempted to do it this way, so I'm just gonna do it. Demion, baby, are you around?
Yes.
I've got a freebie for you if you want it.
Yes.
This is kind of just a present of good faith, so is there anything I need to do, or do you want me to just leave him here for you to do your thing?
Your sacrifice was accepted.
And the room will fade to darkness with you inside. Barry will turn to you. I say, this is most extra... And just before he finishes his sentence, you will see that all the flesh, muscles, organs are torn away from his skeleton. It hovers in the air for a brief moment and is sucked into the painting, leaving the skeleton to fall to the ground into pieces as the room fades back.
You could at least warn me before you do that, or allow me to leave first. As much as I'm used to it, that's still quite disturbing.
Your bargaining posture is highly dubious.
Yes, you say that a lot. And I'll go back upstairs and meet with the rest of the coterie.
Thurston, as you're walking up a cold stone staircase to the main floor, having sacrificed a mortal, apparently just for shits and giggles, what are you feeling right now? What are you thinking?
Well, I didn't want to do it because, like, Evelyn pointed out, it was kind of in her internal monologue, so I guess I can't use her as an example. But, you know, as distant as we've become from the mortals themselves, just sacrificing them willy-nilly like that is still not... It's still frowned upon. But still being a Nosferatu and being kind of trained in the ways of the Camarilla, and I mean, just the Masquerade in general, he didn't feel right leaving mere witnesses to whatever the heck happened tonight. Even though he's going to have to maybe go talk to somebody about Harry Williamson III.
And you will take 2 humanity stakes. You meet up with Eveline and Inspector Grey, who are stood still in the hallway. Is there anything you would like to discuss at this juncture?
Well, you're muted.
The irony of that is I said Eveline will be unusually quiet.
Well, Evelyn, Inspector, it seems we've completed what dear Demion has wished us to. What do you think will happen now, other than having to deal with the whole Lady Anne Bosley situation?
Oh, yes, we do need to make some progress regarding that discussion, don't we?
Indeed. Probably have to wait till Aldrich returns. I think he was the one out of us all to have the most forethought put into it.
I suppose he is the de facto leader of our coterie, is he not?
I don't think he... No, he would probably appreciate you saying that. I think he also probably has the most to lose and gain out of us all, as well. From that situation, that is.
Very well. I suppose we can earmark that discussion for when he is back.
Yeah, speaking of him being away, he mentioned it to me, but did he tell you all where he was headed off to?
No, do tell.
He said he was off to Oxford to purchase some property. I thought maybe he would have run it by one of you two, especially you, Evan.
I just don't remember if he did or not. No, okay. And no, he didn't, but that's not unusual for him. But Oxford. An
Yes.
interesting choice.
I don't know much of the area to be honest, but who knows, maybe Oxford is an interesting place.
I met someone from Oxford earlier tonight.
Really? The woman wearing the pants? Was she just coming through?
I believe she is wanting to move to London and hopefully become the Baron.
Oh, so she was one of us.
Yes, she seems quite ruthless.
Well, if one wants to become the Baron, one has to have the right personality to do so, in my opinion. Ruthlessness will get you far in the, I'm presuming, Camarilla.
Isn't Baron Anarch?
Well, it is in modern day.
Oh, okay.
But in Mithras's kingdom, and I can't remember what he exactly calls it, it's something of Avalon. He has probably baronies of Avalon, and they're split into districts, and each one is a baron that answers to him.
If they're barons of Avalon, would that make them Babylons?
You're just jealous you didn't come up with that.
I would have said Babylons. His is better. Any last minute things you wish to do or talk about before you retire for the day?
Evelyn would probably retire to her room earlier than usual.
Got a lot on your mind, Eveline?
Still feeling a bit morose.
Okay.
Yeah, on the note of that, I feel like Thurston would stay up a bit later and just, for what, he doesn't do this very often at all, but he's going to make himself a cup of tea and kind of just sit alone and sip amongst it. Sip amongst whatever.
Using one of the mugs that you can purchase from our merch store down below.
I have no idea what a hedgegoth is, but this mug is quite exquisite.
Inspector Gray?
Inspector Gray is feeling, he's feeling pretty good. I mean, he had a full meal. He's going to bed not hungry, which is different. He doesn't get that experience very often. I guess there's a little bit weighing. He did kill his food. But I mean, you know, it happened.
Very well then. We shall bring this week's session to a close. Eveline! Beautifully modelling our black cup. You can tell it's a black one because it's slightly larger. Who are you? What do you do? Do you do things? Let's find out.
I am Ms. Hertz. You can find me just about anywhere as Ms. Hertz. I am also a member of the Bat City Bombshells, and we are holding a charity show tomorrow in Austin at Kick Butt Coffee at 7 p.m., and I will be emceeing it. So if anyone in the Austin area is interested in that, please come by. Otherwise, if you need any graphic design or promotional products, go to gibopromo.com.
Very nice. Thank you for coming, sirs. Have a good night to yourself. Thurston, who are you? What do you do? Do you do things? Let's find out.
Well, I'm mostly found at a humble abode in Whitechapel, but if you wish to find me elsewhere, you can find my other personas practically everywhere at Nitro Type at, and if you need any graphical design or promotional things, go to gimopromo.com.
Inspector Gray, who are you? What do you do? Do you do things? Tell us about your OnlyFans.
I am Noskavian. The OnlyFans exists, but it's a joke. So I have 0 followers.
Is it?
And yeah, it's not activated. And you can reach me on Discord. Just at me. I usually don't pay attention, so you're going to have to at me.
And last, of course, never least, is thank you for coming and watching. Thank you for coming and playing. We'll go with Raiden on Martlet Games. Oh, I'm tempted to go Raiden on Vamp Daddy, but it'll be Martlet Games.
Yeah, don't forget to follow, because we're very close to our 400 follower goal that we are wishing to attain, so that way we can send out invites to our play-by-post stuff. That's going to be on our Discord. Link is either in the chat right now or down below.
And we can't go until Thurston says the line.
And Demi babies is something under the tree for me. You're gonna make me sing the whole song?